The indie scene is thriving, and even though 2024 has already brought us many great indie games, there are still a lot more promising games waiting on the horizon. And because it's easy to miss them in between all the AAA titles, I thought I'd once again show you 9 upcoming indie games you probably haven't heard of. What is your most anticipated indie game right now? Let us all know in the comments. Let's kick things off with Creatures of Ava, a quite unique game about saving the planet by connecting with nature, its inhabitants, and of course the creatures living on it. Instead of a traditional combat system with, attacking and stuff, you focus on healing and taming the animals with a staff and a flute. While this may seem like an odd design choice to some, there is a deep meaning behind this in the story, because your task is to protect everything in this world and not to harm it. To actually save the planet, you need to find the source of an infection, and to do that, you need to explore a vast and beautifully designed world that is filled with creatures to find and puzzles to solve. If you always felt a bit guilty about letting Pokemon fight each other and are looking for a more relaxing game, you should add this to your wishlist. Okay, so in my perception I see this game everywhere, but first of all, some of you might have missed it, and secondly, I really want to talk about this game on this channel because it's easily one of my most anticipated games right now. Alzara Radiant Echoes is a 3D turn-based RPG inspired by Japanese classics. Combat focuses on elemental magic and exploiting enemy weaknesses, where you'll also be able to swap out party members and summon so-called legends for extra support. The character's placement on the battlefield plays an important role, since swapping characters lets you combine basic elements into advanced ones like fire and air results in thunder. So overall there's a lot of strategic thinking required. Something that doesn't require strategic thinking is hitting that cute red subscribe button if you enjoyed this video. The beautiful world with its fantastic style invites you to explore it. This already sounds promising enough for me, but the fact that Motoi Sakuraba contributes the soundtrack to this game makes it even more exciting. If you want to know more about this game, I highly recommend you check out this amazing interview with the creative director and my friend Eric Ladd. You can find a link in the description, but first, let's move on to the next entry. Eternal Strands is a game developed by industry veterans who formed the indie studio Yellow Brick Games. Their first game is an action-adventure that puts a heavy emphasis on epic battles with a couple of cool ways to approach it. For one, the environment works as a powerful weapon, because you can interact with it in many different ways. The elemental magic, on the other hand, is physics-based, meaning that you can burn a tree with fire magic, then use telekinesis to throw it at enemies covered in ice, and much more. Spells can also be combined to powerful combat moves, which is a system that encourages to experiment with spells and find all sorts of crazy spell combos. Defeating the enormous bosses grants you new abilities and expand your arsenal. The world itself will also be affected by the elements, altering the environment heavily, which may block some ways and unlock others. Eternal Strands is a wild mix, and the Breath of the Wild and Shadow of the Colossus inspirations make this one of the most promising games for me. Last Vanguard is a game I just discovered this week, and it looks like Valiant Hearts and Hollow Knight had a child. There's not much we know about this yet, but the devs described this game as a Metroidvania shooter platformer with RPG elements. Sounds like a pretty cool mix to me. On top of that, this comes with an open world with different biomes, but instead of a traditional Metroidvania formula, you'll be able to enter and explore dungeons, find secret items like new guns, and defeat mechanical bosses. What I really like so far is the war setting, because it's quite unusual for a Metroidvania. If you're looking for a really fresh take on the Metroidvania genre, Last Vanguard might be something to keep an eye out for. Castaway is for everyone who misses The Legend of Zelda on Game Boy, and it looks absolutely gorgeous. Instead of a time hero with magical instruments though, Castaway's protagonist crash landed on an uncharted planet with its spaceship, and your task is to rescue his pet. Probably not John Wick style though. Weapons not only have a purpose in combat, but also the environment, so solving puzzles will probably feel like a lot what we're used to from older Legend of Zelda titles. This game even comes with different difficulty settings, like a pacifist mode that's probably great for kids, and a survival mode that offers a greater challenge. You know, if Nintendo won't give us new top-down Zelda games, then others do, so I'm really looking forward to Castaway. Aethermancer is the fresh take on the roguelite genre I've been waiting for. This game combines roguelite elements with monster taming in turn-based combat. Looking at the devs, this mix is no surprise, since they developed the fantastic Monster Sanctuary, which is a mix of monster taming and Metroidvania exploration. In Aethermancer, you take control of 3 monsters in combat, use their elemental powers, and customize them according to your playstyle. If they die, they lose their abilities, but you can still bring them back and give it another shot. The protagonist can swap between different character classes that bring another element of strategy and depth to combat. I know a lot of people are tired of roguelites, but Aethermancer looks refreshing and is definitely worth adding to your wishlist. Lucid describes itself as the world's first Celestovania, and as the name suggests, this is a mix of Metroidvania progression with precision-based platforming inspired by Celeste, which sounds like the perfect fit to me. Abilities are mostly movement-based, which totally makes sense considering the action platforming part is a heavy focus, but of course they also offer more combat options. Talismans further enhance your movement, so there's a lot to experiment with to find your playstyle. I mean, the action in this looks wild, and a well-made precision platformer is totally up my alley. If you love Celeste and Metroidvanias equally, Lucid is probably the perfect game for you. I gotta be honest with you because once again we don't know too much about this game yet, but Marsalia Echoes of the Past looks really cool regardless. Besides the beautiful graphic style, which is reminiscent of Sable, I'm especially happy that this is a 3D Metroidvania, something that's definitely not enough of. Abilities range from a 360 dash, a phase shift that lets you pass through matter, a quadruple jump, and much more. Yeah, although we have very little footage, it looks really promising so far, and I can't wait to find out more. This game is a JRPG about sky pirates, but no, it's not Skies of Arcadia 2. It's Sky Ocean's Wings for Hire. This game aims to capture the charm of RPGs from the PS2 era while bringing a couple of new ideas to the mix. You'll be able to recruit members for your pirate crew and then bring them into battles between airships. This combat though is actually turn-based, and the devs promise a deep and strategic combat system. And from what I've played so far in the demo, I can say this is definitely fun. I don't know about you, but if I hear Sky Pirates and watch a trailer, it seems like we're going to experience an epic adventure, and I'm absolutely ready for this. If you're mad at Sega for never doing anything with Skies of Arcadia again, you should add Sky Ocean's Wings for Hire to your wishlist. Alright, that's it. 9 upcoming indie games you probably haven't heard of before watching this video. Hit that beautiful subscribe button if there was any game new to you, and click like if you enjoyed this video. Alright, thanks for watching, have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.